Hey kids, this is Hex-Ray Vision coming to you live from Quattro Cinco Studios. As you can tell, my voice is kind of going in and out, so I'm going to be leaning on my guests as much as possible today. Unfortunately, Gerardo had something come up, so we're going to try and reschedule Gerardo for another tech talk. But for today, we still have an amazing lineup and probably a couple more people joining us as they show up. We've got Hodpril, we got Adam from Fiber Finance, we got Corey Costa, we got, of course, Rags to Riches, Brandon Davis in the house. Go ahead, I'll let them talk about themselves real quick, introduce themselves, going clockwise, starting with Hodpril. Go ahead and let people know who you are if they don't already know.
Hello, I'm Hodpril. I'm mostly on Telegram and Twitter, and I like reading white papers. I like looking at projects, mostly on the Pulsechain, and that's about it.
Right. Go ahead, Adam.
Yep, Adam from Fiber Finance. We've been doing crypto consulting full time now for almost 3 years, and pretty much just do research into a lot of the utility cryptos and stuff outside of Pulsechain. Really try to spread the diversification message.
Awesome. Corey?
Hey guys, what's going on? So I have a mostly Pulsechain centric channel, but I have veered out and spoke to people in politics, other thought leaders in cryptocurrency from other projects, other layer one chains. The main goal that I'm trying to convey to people is onboarding comes from multi-chain cultural diffusion and getting people to understand projects and protocols that they may not have been introduced to because they're in a particular community that doesn't really do outreach. So that's been my main goal from the start. So yeah.
Awesome. Brandon?
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Brandon Davis, and I am co-founder of Texan Token, the world's first endowment token on the blockchain. We just had our 1-year anniversary yesterday. We have not been hacked or exploited. We are live, and 99% of cryptos fail probably after the first year, so that makes me happy. I am certainly a Pulsechain advocate. I'm a Pulsechain advocate because of what I think it stands for, which is, in the broad scope of things, cryptocurrency is decentralized. Cryptocurrency is full of lies. Cryptocurrency I think it's tailored towards extracting maximum value from its users. And I think Pulsechain kind of, pokes that paradigm in the eye quite a bit. I'm happy to support it. So that's who I am. And, what I tell people is do not like, comment, or subscribe. And that's because you don't have any expectations when that's the case. Thank you.
Awesome. I did have a question for Brandon. We were hoping around the 1-year mark to see how many people were going to scrape their stakes, because with Texan, you can scrape your interest without ending the stake and paying penalties.
Sure.
And we're trying to see how many people were going to take that first 5% scrape, and how many people were going to go to the market to take profit, and how many people are going to roll that into another 22-year stake or likewise. Have you been watching that behavior on the chain?
Yeah, the average stake length for Texan is right at 7 years, maybe just under, like 6.8 years. So a vast majority of people are kind of sent out that long. We actually have quite a few full stake lengths. But I would say that based on, when we launched, we had approximately 900 of the 1,800 wallets who donated to the Texas Nationalist Movement. Those folks were actually people from the Texas Nationalist Movement, and they were non-crypto people. And what we had kind of taught them is say, hey, this is the opportunity. If you stake long, this is the delay and gratification thing. It works very well. I think a lot of those folks have done that. And the interesting thing about this is too, people that are already attached to this idea, this community, this nonprofit, when they go to scrape, this is the feedback that I've received. they actually feel like they're sabotaging their community by scraping because they're supporting it with this token. So I found that pretty interesting too. So people are, I guess, more apt not to want to scrape because they feel like it would be hurting the nonprofit. So more data is going to be coming out this year with regards to Texan, more statistics and analytics. And I also call to the community, if you want to do that, you definitely should.
Awesome. That's really good to know. I want to shout out some people here in chat. We've got Red Squirrel as always, Godfather J6, who just started streaming himself and has some really good streams. Check out Godfather J6, subscribe to his channel because he's going to be covering a lot of Texan information. Correct, Brandon?
Yes, absolutely, 100%. Godfather J6, outstanding. He just started streaming about Texan. Love it. And who else? Crypto Compassion, big shout out to him. Also, big shout out to Black Hexkin, who has come on the team as well.
Yeah, love it. And shout out to Hex Glenn, Don, Chad Tonner Swans, Charles Stone, and yeah, Crypto Compassion's in the house. We've got, of course, Corey Costa, who is now got a wrench. So
Yeah,
I've wrenched several people in here. Wrenched Lunacy Point, first time seeing you. Hello, beautiful people. Thank you. Scotty, Utah. Look at this crew. Trap Gravity's in the house. Why isn't Brandon speaking at Maddie's conference? Go ahead.
Well, primarily because I didn't have the internet connection to speak when the slot was offered to me, but then also I don't want to get caught up in all the drama. I think there's tons of drama right now, and I don't want any part of it.
Smart. Shout out to Hexy Quinn, Hector the Protector's in the house. Yeah, like I said, if you don't have a wrench, then hit me up and we'll get you a wrench for sure. Let's see here. See, I'm not sure if Don, are you ready to join the stream? I don't want him to be like walking around in his bathrobe. What's up, buddy?
That was just a few minutes ago, brother.
Go ahead and say hi and introduce yourself, Don.
Hi, my name is Don, or known as Hexiest on X, and yeah, been in crypto since 2013, August 6th, and Hex for the last almost 3 years. I get so confused. I have to think back to when the first conferences were, but I really love. I mean, the whole in it for the tech, but I really love the tech talk because we like to dive deep on a lot of things, and so happy to be here with such an esteemed panel.
Awesome. And Hexy Quinn's giving a shout out to Texan Tailgate. Texan Tailgate's going down tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern. If you guys want to check that out. And I definitely want to give a shout out to Maddie and the conference. We had a fun panel last night on there, and he's always bringing something new to the community. I kind of wanted to go back to Corey Costa. You were just mentioning the problem with communities within crypto is that you're usually only going to get exposed to what's in your little echo chamber, right?
Yeah. So what I've noticed in all the communities that I've been in since I entered cryptocurrency, whether it was the ICX community, which I was a part of for a while, whether it was the meme coin community, whether it's the Hex and Pulsechain community, there is a overemphasis on tribalism, and I know that that's a obvious adherence to human nature. So it's very difficult to weed out that type of tribalism and kind of perpetuate a type of expansionist policy through cultural and through cultural discussion and diffusion. And I've noticed this with Hex and Pulsechain, and I understand why. In the beginning, when the Hex community had to be very gladiatorial against the outside community because of the immense amount of aggression towards Richard and Hex and Pulsechain right now. And I think it's unfortunate that happened. Unfortunately, what I'm seeing now, and not as bad as it was when I first entered this community in 2021, but there is still this animosity towards outside communities and this animosity towards expansion. For example, there's a lot of people that I've noticed in this community that's against listing on centralized exchanges when a layer one community is distinctively different from an ERC20 community. So Hex could have prospered very, very well with just the utilization of Uniswap, but that's an entirely different paradigm structure now with Pulsechain and PulseX and a bunch of PRC20s. Decentralization really doesn't matter if your decentralization is not onboarding people to decentralization. And I think that the value proposition here is to be able to onboard people through seamless use case and an interface and a capability to introduce people to decentralization. And sometimes you have to introduce decentralization through centralization measures. And the majority of successful layer ones, they have market pairs throughout different exchanges, no matter if the top 10 exchanges, no matter if they're exchanges that are not top tier, but they're still listed for a wide variety of people. So I think that's also a part of community cultural diffusion as well, is the introduction through these seamless onboarding techniques. So I think that's something that really needs to change. And I know that there is a foundation that is working on that called the Pulsechain Foundation. It has no affiliation with Richard Hart by any means, but they're working on getting us. We had some things properly listed on CoinMarketCap. Well, not we. I'm not part of it, but and they're trying their best to get us listed on centralized exchanges. So I think that that's a major hurdle that Pulsechain needs to do in order to garner mainstream adoption.
Yeah, and that you said a lot there. That's like almost a thesis that you laid out there that we could probably spend the entire show kind of going over. But to repeat those bullet points that you had, you said number one is if you're not onboarding them to decentralization, then decentralization doesn't matter.
Yes.
Right. And you got to try and make something as seamless and easy as possible for people, especially new people. Yes. Right. And then what was the third point there that you said at the very beginning?
Sure. The third point is that human beings are innately tribal, and this is not exclusive to Hex and Pulsechain at all, because of the fact that it's just tribalism has been around for time immemorial. So when you have that type of instinctual drive in the human conscious, it's almost subconscious that we do this. So it's incumbent for individuals to look at it from a conscious standpoint and be able to intermingle with other communities, because in order to onboard people, you can't really sound like an aggressive used car salesman. You have to do it through a cultural diffusion standpoint. And that's how you get people to, even like a missionary, to get people into your culture.
Appreciate that. Crypto Compassion says, my brother Corey, we need an amalgamation in our community going forward. Much love, brother. And Charles Stone says, just don't attack other communities. Simple as that.
I agree.
This protocol is a value add to anyone in any jurisdiction as trustless yield-bearing assets. Corey understands it. We got Blue Collar Grunt. What's up? Yellow Tails in the house. Hex Force One. Hexy Cat. Hey, what's going on? Haha. Corey sounds like a politician. It is, but it is very political. Something that I was impressed by Brandon and Crypto Heartbeat when they came out with the Texan token. They were kind of known as Hexicans, even though Brandon had a history in crypto before Hex. It was the Hexican community that kind of adopted him and brought them in. And so, Brandon, can you talk about launching a coin without trying to step on other toes and call other people out, and then swallowing the vitriol and hatred that you get when you come out with a project of your own?
I don't really give a fuck what people think. I'd say it starts with that. But along with that, I respect Hexicans. So let me give you guys a backstory here. I was streaming on YouTube before Hex existed. Okay, so, well, maybe not before Hex existed, before I knew about Hex. The YouTube algorithm is the reason that I am in the Hex community. Why is that? Because I found Hex, I found how well it was doing, and I decided to do my own research, and I decided to share that in a video and post that online. YouTube brought Hexicans to me. I didn't go out and find you guys. Suddenly I wake up, I've got like 1,000 or 2,000 views on this video talking about Hex. And I was like, what's going on here? And I look in the comments and everybody's like, thank you so much for covering this honestly. Yeah, this is awesome. Blah, 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 blah. I said, okay, cool. All right. So I started digging into it. Hex had been attacked so much and I had no clue. And I said, how come more people aren't talking about this thing? So when I did my research and I saw that it was sound, YouTube brought Hexicans to me, and then Hexicans embraced me because I was telling the truth about the protocol. Okay. So now that that's established, I love Hex. I love Hexicans. I have made so many friends, man. So many relationships, this and that. But what I'm doing doesn't have anything to do with Hex. All right. I found a nonprofit, a political nonprofit that is solely focused on changing the world in a very, very, very strong way. I support their message. We tokenized their community and we tokenized their ideas. We tokenized their ethics and their morals. And we gave them the gift of the blockchain. And if you guys notice, all of my tweets, I don't hashtag Hex. I don't tag Richard. I'm not interested in stealing Hexicans away from what they're doing. In fact, most of you guys remember when this thing launched, I said, Hexicans, go buy Hex. This is probably not for you. That's what I said, because it's not. So you can go back in history and you can see my track record. You can see the way that we launched the thing. You can see all these things. I'm not interested in extracting value from Hexicans. I'm interested in realizing for everybody, I want to tell everybody this, blockchain is permissionless. Anybody can participate, but the market will reject or accept your idea.
Yes.
Is that clear?
Very.
Clear.
Quinn says, let's go Rigby. I guess that's an inside joke in the Texan community.
Yeah, it is.
We got Jonathan Kampala here. Good to see you, brother. Akademacia said, no one's crazy enough to go toe-to-toe with a ginger.
Yeah, it hasn't ended up well for many people.
Hexicat says, our community can't even not attack each other. LOL, you think the Hexicans be happier with a ghost chain with only Hex? Yeah, there's a lot of crazy infighting right now in our community, which is unfortunate because we could spend all that energy moving forward and helping one another. And then Quinn says, y'all thought Brandon was going to be on the panel today. Looks like he got Rigby instead.
Rigby is who emerges when I drink tequila. So sometimes that's the story behind it. Kind of. I'll give you guys more later.
Good to know. Good to know. Well, going back also, you were talking about the sense of community that Texans have where they don't even want to go scrape their Texan and try and sell it on the market because they kind of feel like they're taking away from the community. Yeah. But along with that, the longer you wait to scrape your Texan, the higher that APR is, right? So the first year you get 5%. The next year you get 6 additional percent. Mm-hmm. And then the third is like 8 and then 11, I believe. So if you can hold off for about 7 or 8 years, you can scrape 100% of your stack. Yeah, and then start back.
I don't think that exists. I don't think that the way that we've done this is different than everything else. We don't have T-shares. There's no good accounting, and there's a lot of. I mean, we could get into a lot of differences. This is a jumbo supply. The only way to get more supply is by staking. That's the only way. Okay. And this is divvied out with an exact mathematical formula over the course of 20 years. The tables are actually embedded in the contract, and you can go look to see how much. It doesn't matter, who's early in staking, this and that. Why? It's because all the penalties are burned. It doesn't go to any address or anything like that. We wanted to make this as simple as possible for the community that we were onboarding, and I think we've accomplished that.
Says, when you whip out the smoking sticks in the speakeasy, Brandon. We got Moonlight. Good afternoon. Good to see you. D-Bunny19 just here to support my BB.
It's my homegirl, D-Bunny. She's a good woman. She's a great woman. She's an amazing person. I've been talking with her for, really long time in the Hex and Pulsechain community. very open-minded individual, very sweet, very, very good-looking person, woman. I'm not even gonna say person. And I'm very grateful for her as a human being. You know, very good person in this community. You know, easy to talk to. You know, kind of like my, I guess you could say, like, easy way to get out of all of the drama in this community. Like, you know how Reg, you said, like, you know, you're trying to stay out of the drama in this community. I'm trying my best to do the same thing. But she's someone good to talk to.
Corey, you getting that dopamine hit though? You kind of love it. You got to admit it.
No, I don't. I really don't. I don't, bro. I'm telling you, the whole reason why I became one of the main catalysts on the decision on why I decided to go back to be a teacher was to get away from the drama in cryptocurrency. That was really the main reason. Like I literally like have said to myself one night, because of the infighting and the drama and the market's not moving, and I was like, please God, help me find an alternative to this. And thankfully I prayed to God and got a job as a teacher, and I really love doing it because there's no drama, there's no fighting, there's no aggression, there's no deception. It's a very different atmosphere than what I've been in the last 7 years. And I don't, in cryptocurrency, I'll be honest with you, I don't know how long I'm going to be staying in cryptocurrency. You know, I don't know how long, to be honest with you. Like, I really don't, because as I've grown older, not older, but as I've grown in this space, I've realized that this type of paradigm in my life is not suiting me as beneficially as it used to. And whether I quit completely or whether I just do one stream a month or anything like that, that's something that I haven't decided yet. Maybe I will stay on regularly. Only time will tell. I'll let God take me where I need to go.
Appreciate that. And I don't know if you want to share this on screen, but did you want to talk about what you're involved with the youth right now?
So basically, I'm a teacher in an alternative school that helps kids that weren't able to be in the public school setting. These kids generally have, depression, anxiety. Some of them have, I believe, to my knowledge, autism. And they're just great kids. They're great kids that, unfortunately, in modern America, we have public schools that easily forget about kids that don't fit the public school narrative. And in the public school, you're easily forgotten about if you don't understand the material at the same time as everyone else. So we get to go at our own pace. We don't have to. We go with the state curriculum, but we have a lot more autonomy as teachers to teach in a way that we want to teach, instead of, boring dittos or PowerPoints. We can utilize games. Like, for example, like we were learning about the Civil War, and I did a project with one of the students where they did a Minecraft version of Pickett's Charge. It's at the Battle of Gettysburg. So it's a very interesting and very rewarding job, and I'm very grateful for it. And that's why I've kind of taken a little bit of a step back from cryptocurrency, because there's no drama at being a teacher now, which I thought would have been the exact opposite, going into education when I student taught 2 years ago.
Oh, that's great. I'm glad that you found that. That seems to hopefully bring some balance to all the drama and negativity that comes with speculation and crypto. Now, you speak to a lot of people outside of our community and a lot of projects outside of our community. Which projects do you think are doing a good job of breaking outside of their culture and reaching out to the broader market, and what's working with them and what's not working? That was for Corey.
Oh, for me. I'm sorry. I think you said Adam. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. In Pulsechain?
Yeah, not only in Pulsechain, but some of the other projects outside of Pulsechain that you interviewed. What are some of the things that are working for them?
Sure. So I think
are not working.
Okay, so for one, in the Pulsechain community, I think what the Tang Gang is doing very well at that, and the reason why is because when you go into their community, it's very it's based off of memetics. It's based off of comedic approaches and multi-chain spaces. Like, I've seen numerous times where the Tang Gang consolidates Pulsechain NFTs, with the Ethereum guys, with BSC. They do a very, very good job at succeeding at bringing different communities together in the Pulsechain sphere. I've noticed specifically a lot of the multi-chain protocols are doing a very good job at that. And I've noticed specifically, I'm just giving Tangang the shout out that they deserve, because they're doing a lot of work. Started out as a grassroots movement over something like oranges, and then it became like a phenomenon that's able to create a multi-chain experience between different communities. And I would say also other communities that are getting attention, and the reason why they're getting attention is because the green candles. These blockchain projects I've noticed right now they're intermingling with other projects because it's financially advantageous. Costa, I'm sure you guys have heard of Costa. Injective is doing very well right now. Tia, I think, is another one. It's funny how everyone called Solana the ETH killer, and then it stopped moving, and now SEI is the ETH killer.
Yeah.
ETH is the dumbest narrative I've ever heard. But these are projects that are getting connection from multi-chain influencers and multi-chain communities, at least from my own empirical perspective.
I love that. And of course, Hodpril, I've been watching your streams with a lot of the female artists and NFT community that's bubbling up and bringing a lot of information to Pulsechain. Which other communities would you say are the easiest to reach out to and incorporate with what you guys got going on?
Well, a lot of the girls have an NFT collection. I do not, but I support their collection. Tangang actually has a lot of people working on NFTs. We have people doing VR art. We have people on, doing all sorts of Pulsechain NFT art, because it is cheaper to mint and sell these NFTs on the Pulsechain than it is on the Ethereum chain, right? Which lends itself very well to this platform. I mean, Gerardo couldn't be with us, but he's got Mintra. That's an NFT platform. There are other ones as well, and Power City's going to have theirs and whatnot. But I like yield bearing NFTs are my favorite. That's my personal choice, and I love art as well. And there are art like some of the yield bearing NFTs I'm thinking about off the top of my head are like the Watt. You can actually have that stake be an NFT, and you can actually transfer it. Pulse Kittens is another one where it's actually a bonus, like an NFT there. Watt says, the HSIs, all the stuff on the Hedron Icasa. There are others, but I tend to gravitate toward NFTs with multiple utilities to them, or something that is kind of giftable. You can give someone something that either gives them a bonus back, or, the art alone. I mean, I used to buy NFTs and trade them before I even used them as sort of those yield-bearing strategies in mind. And I've always made money off of them technically. So, but as far as the Pulsechain in the community, I don't really get into the fights too much because I'm just not aware of them. I'm not on Twitter as much anymore. I go on when I have a question or I want to find something out. I don't really. I don't know. Maybe it's just lately I've just kind of tried to read white papers again, even on stuff I already have, like Texan, for example. It's good if you have Texan to go back, look how much, even if you're not going to scrape it, look how much is on there. Was Texan on both chains or was it Pulsechain?
Two chains.
That's right. Yeah. So there's the Ethereum and the Pulsechain. I thought I had that correct. I was double checking. But
it's actually the first project to hit parity between two chains out of anybody in Pulsechain. Yeah,
okay. Yeah, no, that's not surprising actually.
Yep.
But I don't know. I like the fact that it's not a ghost chain, and we're in a bear. Things are happening, especially with the Richard Hart ecosystem, and we're very tied to Pulse, right? So it's easy to think that certain things are not doing well, or whatnot. But look at the volume in some of these, especially Hex, right? Like, this stuff is going to follow Pulse itself more so than even stuff on the Ethereum chain due to its volatility and everything. So, people need to have patience too. They do, and like Corey said, they need to be able to bring people back in and to look at DeFi, and don't be scared. You're going to have to hold some people's hands through it. And that's just how it goes. So it's all good.
Awesome. Shout out to JBFL, Bullish OX, Force One.
Being in the house.
Yeah, I brought up that we were talking about the Tang Gang and the
Hex
Tang
down
Gang
under.
chat. So
I know we should get Nate in here. Nate's a big fun guest into this Tang Gang.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, they're good fellas in there. They're good people.
Yeah. Adam, you deal with not just people inside of crypto, but people trying to get into crypto, right? And so when someone comes to you and they say, I've got X amount of money and I want exposure to A, B, and C, and then I also heard this guy talk about this other coin, how do you handle that? How do you try to do you try to rein them in? Do you just try to answer their questions? Like, how do you deal with all the different projects and networks that people are coming at you with and trying to get into?
I think there's two different type of people that I've been working with lately, and it's either somebody that went all in on Hex, bought the top, sacrificed everything for Pulsechain, staked out way too long, and is like suicidal right now. And I'm here cleaning up the mess that these horrible messages got passed on to people. Yep. And it's frustrating at the same time to see like the hypocrisy and just the complaining and what's going on in the ecosystem. So I just stay away right now. Like, it's not even worth, arguing over stupid shit or trying to justify points. It's just not worth it. There's so much going on in other communities around crypto that is so exciting that if I know a person can't handle it, I'm not even pitching them on Pulsechain right now. I'm just telling them, look, if you don't know about Hex and Pulsechain, you got to make a Hex ladder at some point in the next couple months. The prices are at rock bottom. But people right now want to hear about what's going on in other ecosystems, what's going on Metis, what's going on Solana, what's going on Avalanche, what are the new altcoins I can get into? And that seems to be where a lot of the focus outside the Pulsechain community is. And it's tough, trying to bridge that gap and pitch people on Pulsechain and why they should be there. And then you go and do research and all you see are a bunch of grown men fighting and arguing, and it's just not a good look. But then at the same time, there's awesome communities and awesome projects that are building that kind of get lumped in with the mess that's going on. So I think it'll all work itself out. Hex is trailing the market. And I think once we get some green candles, people will relax a little bit.
I agree with him.
How ironic is it that maybe a significant portion of the reason that Tang Gangs exists is because of hexagons and how they treated everybody and how everybody feels so disenfranchised. Just how ironic is that? So, and that's something that people rarely point out. But if you treat people like crap, you're going to have a pendulum effect. And I think that it's a reflection. I think that's what's happening right now.
It's very easy to be disenfranchised by people who are literally the embodiment of hypocrisy.
Mm-hmm.
It really is.
Hex is a full-blown cult right now.
It really it really is. That's why I've honestly it's the sad but inevitable truth, and it's like
I don't think it's a cult. I don't think it's a cult. I think that there's a small vocal minority of people who treat it like that, and everybody absorbs that identity, like from looking from the outside. I don't think it's a cult, but I think there's a lot of people who stir it up. Sorry, Hodpril.
No, I'm just saying, I took a little bit of a break over the holidays to basically cook the whole time. I guess I've missed a lot of stuff. It's just like, what the heck happened while I was gone? You guys don't have to tell me, by all means. But there's some drama or whatever. Like,
Most people don't care. John makes a good point.
I missed it.
You can own Hex without having a Twitter account. You can just pull up your app and see how much you have, by the way. Just want to point that out, folks. So that's the argument.
Yeah. Is this Spectral Mana back there? She's the one that does the giant cats, right?
I don't know.
She's
the tiger,
the Tang Gang. She's into NFTs with the Tang Gang. I'm not sure exactly which ones, but she does very good art.
I think she's the one that actually designs these big looking like jaguar cats, because they're so I don't know, so impactful and looking that I've been sharing those on Twitter as well. So yep, there she goes. Yeah. So I really like the cats she's been putting out. It's cool to watch her make those with her VR and color. It's really interesting. Hex Monkey says vast majority of community is still kind and positive and supportive. Yep. It's just not as loud as the antagonistic ones.
Exactly.
I agree. I do agree with that.
Yeah.
But I gotta unfortunately, Hexray, start heading out personally. Right. But I did want to say
you're going to go shill Hex to emotionally compromised children at alternative school?
Yeah, Corey, my gosh.
No. Today's Sunday.
That's
okay. Sorry.
I have a stream at 4:15 with a project that's launched on Pulsechain from BSC. No, we didn't get any snow, Hexy Cat. So I'm gonna try. I'm doing my best what I can do with onboarding new people. This panel's amazing. You guys are all great. You guys have all done a fantastic job. I'm grateful to be on this panel and was invited to come on. Hexray, we got to do this again.
Yes.
I'm very grateful for coming on. And God bless you guys and have a great rest of your Sunday.
Be good, buddy.
You're awesome, Corey.
Good one, brother.
Thank you.
Yeah, if you guys aren't following and subscribed to Corey, go ahead and definitely subscribe and follow him.
That's how he rolls. He just leaves. He doesn't even press it.
He's got his signature. Brand, right on brand.
Yeah. We did get the elbow crease right before you left. Did you guys notice that? That's what people tune in for, is this little elbow crease.
Oh yeah.
It's hilarious. Well, that's awesome. Now, enough about drama and Tengang. I should definitely have a bunch of the Tengang on to Tech Talk, and they can kind of go over their philosophy and what they've been working on. But as the title of this is packing our bags for the bull. And so I was going to go first. Some of the bags I've got packed for the bull are obviously Texan Token, Pulsechain. I've still got a lot of Hex stakes coming out. And then I got a little bag of UpX. I've got some of the Titan X stuff going on to see where that goes. And basically my plan going forward into the bull market is to sell 10% basically at every double of each price, and just set those limit orders so that I'm not caught with my pants down if it, rips and then crashes before you get a chance. Because I mean, in crypto, if you're not at your computer that week or those 3 weeks that everything spikes, you missed it. You missed the bull run in a matter of weeks on some of these coins, right? What about you guys? Do you guys want to shout out some of the bags that you guys have packed for this bull market coming up?
Who wants to go? I have so many tokens. I really do. And it's not all linear, like the same amount of tokens. But in general, I try to put a little bit, if possible, of my bags into everything that seems legitimate. Of course, price go up, but I'm kind of a passive income stream sort of type of person. So I would rather join a pool and get a high percentage than actually just get a token that is spiked. And of course I would like to do both, but I think there's more of a deep dive in some of these systems than people think when they look at the price. as far as like what percentage of the pool are you a part of? Watsas are one of those things where you could go in and, no matter the price of a ICASA, if you're technically a bigger part of the pool, you just get more of a payout, regardless of the price. Staking hex is like that too. What's the payout? What is the daily payout per T share? And it is different on Ethereum than it is from Pulsechain, which I anticipated. So as far as what to hold with the bull market, it depends on how you want to make money back and when, right? Are you intending on just selling on the bull? If you're going to do some fast moves, that might be different than something that you're going to DCA and buy more of a percentage of the pool and eventually kind of make more passive income back over the years. So it's hard to say. Depends. Wildly depends.
Awesome. How about you, Adam? You've been following not just certain coins, but certain sectors. I know that you keep an eye on.
Yeah, I think if you're not looking at real world assets, tokenized assets, I think you're making a big mistake. I think it's going to be huge. Obviously AI is going to have a run again. And then NFTs are going to come back, programmable NFTs that you can add and play with the metadata. I think those are going to be really big. And I see a lot of promise this quarter. I see a lot of the utility coins I look at on Hedera and Stellar. I think there's NDAs across the board, and it's really hard to see where these projects are. You could see partnerships that have been made, grants that have been given out, but it's hard to, can't get any updates on it. And I'm hearing that this quarter, a lot of stuff is going to be released publicly. I think it's going to be really big. So outside the Richard Hart ecosystem, I look at it like you got Richard Hart, everything over there, and then you have your other blue chips, whether it's Avalanche or Hedera, Stellar, and then the altcoins underneath them. So my strategy's been find the L1 and then look at the best plays underneath it. Find a DEX, find a meme coin, find a gaming play, something like that. And then from there, taking profits. I think the markets everything's happening so much faster now. And you almost need to have limit orders out there because these flash crashes, or not crashes, but these little 20% liquidation wicks, no one knows when they're coming. So the people that are really killing it now that I talk to always have stables on the side or limit orders ready to scoop up these little dips. And if you know what you're doing, you can catch 10-15% pumps, often.
Good. Actually, I will, actually, if it's okay, I'll share the screen real quick.
Yeah.
So starting back in September, I took about $5,000 or $6,000 and I built out a portfolio, and then I kind of DCA'd over 3 months and then got up to about 9,000. I need to put about 1,000 more in. So the, mostly non-Richard Hart stuff. I did positions in Hex, XRP, Ethereum, Cardano, Doge, Chainlink, Polkadot, Solana, and Bitcoin. Now these, quite frankly, man, I'll tell you this. Cardano for me has been the gift that keeps on giving cycle after cycle. I mean, it's pretty much like a guaranteed, 25 to, at some points it was 150x. But Cardano's solid for some reason. It's been around a long time. It's withstood the test of time. And then there's a very strong community that will pump the hell out of it. And VCs like stability. So they're going to look at Cardano. I think that's going to run. I think Dogecoin's going to rip again. Chainlink, as time goes on, that's just going to become more and more useful as blockchains, the interconnectivity thing really proliferates. Solana, Bitcoin, all that. So this is kind of like outside Richard Hart. I wanted to put other stuff there. I know that Hex is on here, but it actually wouldn't load some of the other stuff that I have. Now, in terms of inside the Pulsechain ecosystem, obviously Pulse, PLSX. And I want to shout out TitanX too. I think that in my mind, the jury's still out on TitanX. I would love to see it do really, really well. this is going to be a very crucial point over the next 6 to 8 months to see whether or not this thing is viable. But it's got all the ingredients. The community loves it. It's because it's making people a lot of money. So I'm very interested to see how that turns out too. But overall, man, there's just so much. Obviously, I'm absolutely in love with Texan, and there's other reasons that I can't talk about why I would be in love with Texan, but Texan's awesome, and quite a few others, guys. What's crazy is I think Richard taught everybody how to do crypto properly. So it's like you take a dart and you throw it at a board, and you're going to do well inside of Pulsechain. Like, I think the likelihood of you doing well is much higher than anywhere else in crypto. Because there are a set of standards out there that people mostly follow, and that helps the situation out. That turns away a lot of rug pulls. Not all of them. Obviously, a lot of people have. So, and the other thing is there's so many pairs that are tied up in liquidity with Pulsechain. Pulsechain, Hex, or PulseX rip, there's going to be a lot of projects ripping with it. Just want to point that out. So, it's just exciting. Yep.
Cool.
So,
and what is? Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say that everything that you have on your screen right there, I've also got bags of. I've had bags of for years, and I hold on to them. I like putting new money in crypto. I don't extract too much value out of crypto. In the bull market, I like to take some profits. But one of the things so Richard Hart ecosystem. I mean, those are my main holdings. Hex, more so Pulsechain and PulseX. But what I like to do in addition to these blue chips, as you called them, is I like to go around on Twitter and I like to find out where there's a lot of positive energy, a lot of progress, and I like to just dab into other communities and see what other things are going on. And so I've been doing that lately. And anyone that's looking at kind of some of the biggest crypto spaces for the last couple of weeks will know what I'm talking about. I don't want to get anybody wrecked, but there's some other things out there that people that are doing some very interesting things with Solidity coding and smart contract development. I mean, things that we really haven't seen before in coding. And I'd really like to see, my goal is to help these communities launch these type of projects on Pulsechain, because Ethereum becomes prohibitive. The cost of Ethereum and gas, when these projects go crazy, like last night and on Wednesday, we're spending a couple $100 to get a transaction through again. And so I to Corey's point earlier when he started off, it's this is where I know Pulsechain and PulseX are going to do amazing things, and Hex. I have no doubt about that. And I'm in the position, fortunately, where I have additional money that I'm able to kind of gamble with, and that's what I look at some of these other positions. I really like my Pulsechain, PulseX, Hex. I'll be honest, I've got a lot of money tied up in liquid loans right now in the stability pool. Making yield, and some in the staking pool. I have had money in liquidity for the last several years that I just keep there as well. That, I mean, I know logic would say, why not put it in a place where it's, being a steward of capital, where it's getting paid the most. But I know in crypto, it's not your typical investment environment. And so I like to keep different things out there for different things that can possibly run. So that's just kind of a brief overview of things I'm looking at.
Awesome. And what is your guys' strategy for taking profit? Do you guys do it based on a percentage? Do you go off of a Fibonacci retracement? Where do you guys think, how do you guys come up with the target of when you want to take profit? And how do you determine how much of your bag you want to sell? To cover that.
I'll do it first. I did the last one first. I'm Hodpril, and so that, and holding means different things to different people, right? Sometimes it means you're not ever farming. Sometimes it means you're just holding a token and never switching, never changing it over to anything, or not DCAing, going all in. But for me, it means not taking that much profit for as long as possible. And that's just one strategy, because I mined Bitcoin back in the day and I took some profit and saved some. But if I would have held, and I got out of debt, right? I have no regrets for how that happened. But if I would have held more, I would have had more gains, right? And so I was thinking, well, one good thing about, Corey went back and taught and he kind of got a life outside of crypto. And I think that will allow people to hold a little bit more, maybe, and not obsess on what they have or have a specific, like, oh, I need to make 10% or I'm not making rent, or, like all of these expectations with crypto. So what I do is I don't take profit for a while. I kind of tend to try to research yield bearing assets, roll the money into other ones, I'm in the stability pool with liquid loans. I did do Titan X. I did well on Titan X. I don't know what's going to happen with Hyper and the other stuff that's going to be built upon it. I'm not telling people to go in or what time to do it, but just overall, do research, figure out what is going to make you the most passive yield. Try to recycle back into things as much as you can. Like my strategy with liquid loans is kind of to put some of the passive income back into the staking pool, and back into the stability pool, back, and some of the vault have the collateralization level high. So I don't take a whole lot of profit. Maybe a small percentage when I need something, but like I'm not scraping my Texan either. I'm just going to keep it in there, and that's the way I do it. Kind of like more like a retirement sort of situation.
Cool.
Possibly.
I think that's a good strategy. Crypto's here to stay.
Yeah, it is. Absolutely.
So real quick question on that. You did well in Titan X. And I don't want to get off topic, Max, but I'm just saying I'm guessing you did some short mints.
Oh, no.
Or have you not realized
mines?
Mines, I mean. Yeah.
Yeah, I did a few. Yeah. Okay. I mixed it up. I did some because, you have that like T rank bonus, right? Is that what it's called? Yeah. So it's kind of like you have you have staking and mining. You have to ascertain which one that you want heavy in, as well as the drop off that happens relatively quickly with your rank. And it's like, well, am I going to hit some hard now? Am I going to compound? How long am I going to compound? How long are these short compounds going to last before you start getting wrecked? Technically, the first ones did, because the price of Titan X, just like any other thing, would go up and down and fall. So that's just one of those ones where you have to really, really hardcore look at it. And I don't necessarily go and spread the word like, hey, you need to do this. This is the new thing. Like, oh man, you pick people that really look at charts and really read white papers and really just stick to their computer type of crypto people to tell them some of these fast moving things, right? Whereas like with Pulse, I would say, and I'm a Pulsechain over really anything else. Like a lot of this stuff, a lot of money I would make out of other protocols. Honestly, I'll probably bring back into Pulsechain, possibly back into Ink. I'm not telling anybody to do anything. I know Ink fell. I still do have some faith in it. Might
yes.
Back into it.
Hodpril, I think you hit the nail on the head there.
I agree. And so even though I've made a lot of money on, or I'm going to say a lot of, I've done okay on some stuff that isn't just Pulsechain, right? In my mind, I see the future of this, of Pulse, the stuff on Pulsechain possibly going up a healthy amount when things are running as they should. So that's not financial advice, but I have faith in possibly Ink and Pulse itself. Even the new Hedron and Costa, I'm looking forward to it greatly. So, yeah. Sorry, I'd go on a rant forever about this stuff. So,
that's what this is for. This is the place for the rant. This is where people want to hear it. I want to say welcome, David James here, Duke of Booze, Sandy Beaches, Cookies and Cryptos. Good to see you guys. Good to have you here. What about you, Adam? Because you've got your plan, your personal plan for taking profit, but then you're also coaching and advising people on when they should be taking profit. How do those two differ?
I mean, everybody's different, right? Everyone's at a different point in their life. Every 10 grand means something different to all of us here. And you got to try to find that there's no just cookie cutter solution. I think it's just if stuff's worked in the past, why fix it? Try to stick to those same principles, those same strategies, and it's tough because I have bags right now that some of them are up 10, 12x in the last 3 months, and other bags are down 15%. So to just have one strategy for everything is kind of impossible. So when I look at my bag and there's stuff that is running like crazy, it's probably time to trim out. When you see an altcoin go up 300% in 2 days, it's probably going to come back down. And just trying to take profits when things go parabolic, but I don't really want to sell too much right now. We're too early in the cycle. And especially with this ETF coming out, I'm so conflicted. I just feel like the market's got to go down. We got to go back to in the 30s again. And I don't know whether we're going to get a pump to 50K, 48K, 52K when the ETF gets approved. But the market is so volatile. Things are consistently changing. So just when things start moving, you just get that feeling. And if you don't, ask people. That's why we started 28th Wealth Group with Chris from the Verse. People don't have time. They have full-time jobs. They just want somewhere they can go and say, hey, this is what I have. You think this is the right move? What do you guys think? And just talking through it with other people. And yeah, it's finding people you can trust, I think, is very important in crypto.
Oh, so important. I mean, we say trustless, obviously, but it is important to find founders you trust as well as other people that you trust. I think that's so important. And go with your gut.
Yeah.
I kind of like utilizing, like Dale from, King of the Hill, one of those guys that are just on the computer all the time. Oh my God, there's tunnels here, and there's aliens in Florida, and also Solana's up 10%. Like, oh yeah, man, that guy's on his computer, he's on the ball, and he's reading all the documentation. And sometimes they come with spicy other hobbies, but what I like about Telegram, and you always have to think for yourself, do not let any of these people think for you. Just get the information and then look it up yourself. Don't trust them completely. But you can trust that they are like ham radio-esque personalities on everything that's launching, Pulsechain or not, right? And they will be some of the, by the way, there's some rooms like whale bots and stuff on the Telegram channel. I just like Telegram for you want to get the first news, right? You want to get new projects, what people think about them and everything. So, sometimes it is nice to have a structure of people that are just constantly paying attention, because if you do have a full-time job or even a part-time job and a family and everything, you can't possibly put the same amount of hours into it as somebody who just either has retired because they made so much off of crypto, which is almost unfair, right? It's always easier to make money when you have it, or you have the time to sit and read white papers all day and to sit and look at the charts and everything. Some people have to go to work, so I get that it's a precarious situation where you have to figure out where you're getting this brand new information from. Sometimes you don't have the time, and that's a luxury in crypto, big time. People don't talk about that as much.
This is true.
What do you guys think about this 4-year cycle? I mean, it used to be that you wanted to take enough profits to make it to the next cycle, right? 4 or 5 years. But the truth is we have no idea what the next cycle is going to look. We kind of have an idea and a belief in what is going to happen this next halving cycle. But as far as the next one, I don't know, we'll call it 28, 29's cycle. We have no idea where government regulation is going to fall. We have no idea how well institutional banks will have, set up their oligarchy or their, monopoly over the way that baby boomers are moving their money into crypto, right? So, is this the cycle that we need to take profits for the rest of our lives, or are we trying to take enough profits to survive to the next bull? What do you guys think?
I think at this point it's so entrenched, we're not going to see some sweeping legislation that destroys all of crypto. So that's my opinion. So with that said, I think that you can look at the charts, you can look at the cycles, and pretty much 12 to 18 months after the halving is when you see a market cycle top in Bitcoin. Approximately 6 to 8 weeks after that, you'll see a market cycle top in Ethereum and then the altcoins, right? So that's, generally speaking, that's how that works. There's a lot of difference, though, between what's happened the past 13 years and now, primarily because we were in such an inflationary period for those 13 years. The argument that I've been making is we have no idea what cryptocurrency or how it's going to behave when we're resetting the Federal Reserve cycle. So that's going to be the big question to me is what happens here. When inflation gets, I guess, well, actually, when they decrease interest rates, you have issues, okay? Historically speaking, since 2000, the 3 or 4 times that they've had to cut interest rates after increasing them, we've had a 20 to 30% pullback in the S&P 500. The problem with that is cryptocurrency is pretty closely tied to the stock market in general. It still is. So if that happens to the S&P 500, what's going to happen to crypto? The other issue is when we have the halvening, either on the halvening right before or right after, there's pretty much like a six month period with the halvening in the middle, we have a fall off in crypto. I tend to believe it's because the miners are trying to squeeze every bit of hash power out of their old machines as possible before that halvening occurs. So then they probably dump price to be able to pay the loans for the new hardware. I think that's probably why we see these dumps every halvening. So that's an issue that we're dealing with. A beneficial thing that we have going on here, you know, if we want to take profits, we do have a presidential election, and politicians don't want, especially on the left, they don't want Biden looking bad going into a general election. So one of the big things that they can do to kind of keep the economy propped up is to do deals with Saudi Arabia in terms of oil prices. Because if oil prices don't get elevated, they can kind of keep for the next year or so, they can keep the economy somewhat stable or slightly growing. Now, if Saudi Arabia doesn't play, if they don't like Biden, they can cut production and they can cause fuel inflation. So all of these things are very interesting. And I'm saying that I would probably stick to what I've done in the past, which is I'm going to say, all right, I want this amount of my portfolio sold off within 18 months and divide back by percentage over 18 months. And that's how much I'm going to pull out, essentially. I just talked a lot, so.
It was all good.
It was all good.
I think I'm not writing it down, Brandon.
Goodness gracious.
Great balls of fire.
I love
David
it.
Jane
Great
asked,
beards of fire.
There we go.
Beards of fire.
There we go.
Will new hardware be required this time? Is he talking about the Bitcoin miners?
Yeah. So the way that this works is in order to crack the code for the block to get the reward, you have to have strong hash power in order to do so. But the algorithm gets it doubly as hard to crack, which means that you have to have one of two things. Either a better hash board or processor to be able to crack that code, or you have to have more devices that are pooled together that are focusing their hash power on that code. So most people, I'd say, are probably going to buy more of the same machine because that's probably cheaper rather than invest into the brand new thing. So I hope that answers your question.
Cool. So there's a little pump in the Pulse ecosystem today. Everyone's enjoying that.
Oh, it went up again. Whee! Oh, yeah.
We haven't seen nothing yet. Nothing.
No,
nothing.
we haven't.
No.
These are fun. I mean, it's fun, but just wait. Everyone in now will be happy, I believe.
You and I can use a little patience. I look like do I look like Axl Rose?
A little bit.
Yeah, there you go.
Axel Rose,
Jamming some
King of the
GNR
Hill.
lately.
Hodpril's on fire today, but King of the Hill got me though. That got me.
Oh yeah, oh
That
yeah.
got me.
We know them guys. We know lots of those guys in crypto. But yeah, on patience. I mean, here's the thing. It makes sense why we haven't done the super pump yet. To me, anyway. This is not financial advice, but okay, we have the SEC
Yes.
Richard thing, but we haven't done the halvening, and the mayhem with the Bitcoin that's gonna cause, with the miners as well. Yeah, the hardware, and the election. However, that's going to play out, right? Because it's easy to say what you would think the election would do. And I do agree with Brandon in that they're going to try to make Biden look as good as possible and try to prop things up. But we don't know how that's actually going to play out or what they have, how much they have, how much of a hand they have in the control of that, how it's going to play out, how it's going to play out internationally, right? Just outside of the U.S. and everything. So, I'm just saying, keep checking the charts and be willing to do some research and I don't know. It's interesting. I'm kind of looking forward to how nuts this year is going to be.
Me too.
If you guys could wave a magic wand and see any project show up on Pulsechain, what would it be?
I'd like Chainlink to
next.
be here, actually.
Agreed.
Chainlink?
Oh, yeah, I think
Very
that'd
much
be
so.
Huge exposure. Yeah. Or, I mean, quite frankly, even like a major DEX like Uniswap, that would be cool too, but they would never come unless there was volume here. But that would bring
And
folks.
if the SEC's
Right.
issues got relieved,
Right.
resolved.
Yeah, and anyone in chat hit up what type of project or what specific project you'd like to see on Pulsechain. I want to say hi to Axis Alives in the house. We've got Tobleros. Amazing that they seriously want a senile geriatric for another 4 years. Absolutely insane. Not to mention how corrupt he and his family are. Yeah, I don't know. I quit believing in politics a long time ago.
Ah, screw that dude, man. Screw all of that dude, 100%. I'm just going to say it. I'm going to say what people in chat think. At this point in my life, if the left tells me to turn right, then I'm turning left. Does that make any sense at all?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. That's all I'm going to say.
He's just 100% rebel. That's it. I'm bullying not.
I mean, okay, not 100%, but I'll tell you something, man. I have been
75%.
on this earth. I've been paying attention for probably 20 years, 15 to 20 years. And I'm telling you, if there were Vegas odds set up on some of these things, I wouldn't even have to think. I'd be loaded right now.
Oh yeah, 1,000, dude.
Well, there kind of is in crypto. When you go and you look at what politically happens, sometimes it does, especially
Right.
Bitcoin, correlate pretty quickly
True.
to it. And some people, and so I don't think crypto and politics, I mean, I was hedging on, Mt. Gox and BTCE a little bit back in the day, how you used to do that when there were only 2 or 3 different things to hedge against, and the ruble and yuan, whatever, was go and check the politics. Like, what's happening in China? What's going to happen today? Granted, it was volatile, but there's no way that doesn't still affect things. It's not as volatile necessarily, but there are people with their fingers on that mouse waiting for some weird thing to happen somewhere, and they're, I'm going to sell the news, I'm going to buy the news and all of it. So it does exist. Politics is crypto. It is the blockchain, because the blockchain is people. It's not anything other than human behavior, right? So that plays into it big time.
Well, Casey says, I'd like to see stake or success of a sporting betting code. I know PulsePot's developing that. Crypto Compassion wants to see real estate tokenization and hard assets on Pulsechain. Freedom. Dan Ed says, I trust R2R. And then Hex Down Under says, governments
Hold
are
on.
corrupt. Get your gains and hide in the woods. They're
Was that
coming
a
for you.
copy paste of a comment that happened like 12 and a half minutes ago?
I
it
think
was.
so.
Yep, King Daniel the Great. The exact same copy paste. Is that you, King Daniel?
I don't know.
I think it is.
Hex Monkey says the left used to be different. Now it's pure control, tyranny. But like you said, people, everything comes down to people. And most of the things that we deal with, including money, are a shared fiction, right? So if we get together as a community and we agree something is money or has value, then it has value almost by our decree instead of, say, government's decree like fiat, right? And so it really does matter the stories we tell and the people that we surround ourselves with that determines the outcome in our money and our lifestyle, right?
It does.
Absolutely.
I was going to see if we can get Brandon talking more. He doesn't realize
11 minutes.
He's been here
No.
more than an
11
hour, and so I've just been letting
minutes.
him talk to see how long we can keep him.
Dude, I've totally been thinking I saw it at 9 minutes, so I noticed 2 minutes ago.
he's got some sand, the Days of Our Lives little timekeeper with sand
it's
dropping
wearing
down
on-
it.
Dude, like the sands of time, so are the days of our lives. I think that was the actual quote.
Oh wow.
I trust Rigby with my life.
Just say
She didn't say Brandon. She said Rigby.
Yeah.
She didn't say
Yeah,
Brandon.
Brandon's soft. Rigby, yeah, I might trust Rigby, but he's an ass.
Hey, I played chess with Rigby at about 2-3 a.m. in Vegas, and I saw Rigby come out. I saw a body slam on a table. So I'm just saying, it was well deserved though. They interrupted our
was.
chess game.
That
They
really
interrupted
pissed me
a very
off.
good chess.
He
Yeah.
says, no
Story for
matter
another time.
what system or government
Yeah.
or community involves, the most controversial thing will always be people. Yeah,
Yes.
it all comes down to people,
Oh yeah.
right?
When power corrupts and absolute power corrupts, absolutely. I mean, that's what we see. It's
Right.
it's down to the monetary system as well.
Yeah, I want to talk a little bit more about what I want to see on Pulsechain, but we'll be revealing that in the next month or two, me and Dawn, because we're actually building what we want to see on Pulsechain right now and trying to get that into audit. So once we get that through audit, we can share a lot more of the secret ingredients and what we want to see go on there. But it's very much along the lines of what Hodpril's been talking about. Very, very much so.
Good hint.
Oh man. Then we'll see what it ends up being.
I think she'll become a student, I think, of your thing. It's cool.
Crypto Compassion
I'm
says
always
chessboard.
willing to learn.
He was there to witness that, and then empires have collapsed when they try to buck the banksters.
That's
Yep.
true.
But you beat someone
This is
up
true.
over chess? Holy cow. Or I guess
No.
that's
There's some nuance there.
Oh, okay.
I'll say this, and
I
this
mean,
wasn't
it's
him.
okay
It was
if
a guy
you-
named Rigby. This was a random guy named Rigby that I was playing
okay.
chess with. Someone
I see.
interfered with the chess match. Like we were talking. We'd been playing about an hour and a half, 2 hours, a solid game. It was. We were in the end game. We were almost in the end game,
Yep.
and someone decided to bump some chess pieces, and they just needed a little bit of they needed a little correction. Is what was.
Oh, they needed a correction. Oh, that's,
Yeah.
that's
They needed a correction for their
Well,
behavior.
they bumped it on purpose. That was the
Oh.
thing. I didn't just like haul off and body slam somebody. I body slammed them because
oh, body slam. You did body slam.
He was
I
wanting a little
really did.
attention.
he got his
Oh,
attention. He got it.
Lordy.
Yeah.
He got kinged.
But
Oh,
then
wait,
Careful what
the
you ask
chess
for.
the
That's
chessboard went
checkers.
everywhere, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Toblerone says over time the T-share rate will be different on the two chains. If more people stake on one side than the other, won't that alter the rate of change? Yes.
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 So the higher yield that people get when they unstake is what ratchets up the T-share rate, right?
Mhm.
So whoever's getting the best return, whichever chain is getting the best return, is going to have a T-share rate go up faster.
That's why sometimes it's not the individual price of the token. I mean, it is, Sometimes it's not the individual price of the token, it's the percentage of the pool as far as the
Right.
payout. I'm not saying that's going to end up happening in a huge way between Ethereum and Pulsechain, but the payouts will be different over time. It'll be more apparent.
Awesome. Hex Monkey says this panel is a perfect example of how we can all be Hexkins united by principles while also be involved in other projects to appreciate that. Because I think that's
Yes.
really the way going forward is trying to support each other, not take everything so seriously or take everything as a threat to you personally. Right.
Hex Monkey
Well,
was
we've got
one
a
of the
layer
first.
one chain. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just like Corey was saying. We evolved from an ERC20 community to a layer one community, and that's a big deal. You know what I mean? If you're just a Hex maxi, then are you not going to invest in Pulsechain? You know what I mean? It doesn't make sense, and a chain needs projects to be built on it in order to succeed. For instance, liquid loans is a huge. There were a lot of people griping last night in the Twitter space about liquid loans getting some promotion during the Hex conference. It's like, guys, this is a protocol that's bringing a very much needed tool to the blockchain, and that's
Yeah.
just one of many tools that Ethereum has.
Yeah, the stable.
That,
Yeah.
Well, how
You know
how
what I mean?
much?
And stables, yeah, native stables and lending,
Yeah.
you know, and which people is very important to people to be able to extract value without having to sell. And it's and we want to promote that stuff. We don't want to see everything like that as threats. It's foolish for us to think that way if we have any belief in Pulsechain. If we're straight Hexicans, then okay, that's one thing, you know what I mean? But if we like Pulsechain, which I like very much, then I like all the development on it as possible. There are going to be meme coins and scams. Okay, great. That's going to bring volume and attention. People might get wrecked, but they at least know how to use the chain now. And now they know how to swap on it. Now they know how to. Now they might look at some other things on it. But just because I got wrecked on Binance Smart Chain doesn't mean I never used it again. You know, I just found different things. Now I don't use Binance Smart Chain much, but I'm just using that as an example. It's we want this chain to grow.
Yeah,
We
I
need it.
want
Is the
to
bridge still free right now?
think so.
I believe
Nothing's
so.
changed.
Yeah, I haven't
Yeah.
heard anything otherwise, so
Yeah.
that's pretty
Right.
cool. I know GoPulse is making all the tweets like, "Hey, it's free," and Richard promoted that.
I do
Yeah.
want to shout out Hex Monkey. He's not just saying this in a chat. He was one of the first people that put his face on stream for Texan. So he's got Hex. He supports the community. He supports Texan, and he he's a man of his word, and I appreciate that. And he's a man of integrity, and I appreciate that. King Daniel as well. King Daniel's been sticking his neck out there, and he's trying to be a force for good and positivity, and I certainly appreciate that. And I hate saying these things because there's so many other people out there that are doing the same thing. Unfortunately, Quinn, she's been doing okay lately. It is what it is with her, but Crypto Compassion and others and so many folks in the chat, Access Alive. So thanks, guys. Really appreciate it. You guys are what's making this thing tick and move along. Thank you.
Cookies and Crypto says Nerd Girl brought up a good point yesterday with asking Steph to save the Staker app code and rights. And then Hex Monkey says T-share rates are already slightly different on the two chains, and that will increase. Hexycat says people talking, trashing projects on Pulsechain are living in the past and have blinders on.
Yeah.
And then
As Richard
he
asked
says,
us to build.
yeah, he told us to build. Cryptos and Cookies says Cookies and Crypto says Zenify on Pulsechain might be cool. I don't know about that.
Not familiar with that.
That's Zenify. Maybe he's saying just Zen. Zen's not on Pulsechain though, is it?
No,
Yeah,
Zen is
regular
on
Zen.
Classic
Pulsechain.
is.
It is on Pulsechain.
Zen has a bunch of different things that Jack had done a bunch of different tools, and there was a lot of complexity to it. I know that part of that was the foundation for at least the token distribution model for TitanX, but I stopped following Zen a long time ago. No vitriol against it. Zenify might be a cool tool. I just don't know much about it. So if it's a cool tool on Pulsechain, then let us know.
I don't like Jack. I think he tried to blackmail Crypto Heartbeat, and I didn't like that too much. So
He did.
Hopefully, I don't have to Rigby on him if I see him in person anywhere.
Someone earlier was saying when we were talking
know he
about
did
our
that.
strategies that Tetra fixes this. So I know we're waiting for Tetra to come out with a lot of automated strategies and tools for us to use to manage our positions.
Yeah, that's
in a
like
lot of these
node-based
assets.
steps. It's pretty cool. Excited
What's
to
the
see
launch
how
date
that's
for that?
For Tetra,
Uh-huh.
I'm not sure. I know that I think they've got a bunch of stuff in testnet right now. They've got a hell of a Telegram, because in their Telegram they have a sub channel for each one of the different projects that we're doing here, or that they're working on, including the haunted strategy and other stuff. I'm trying to pull it up right here.
Hodpril strategy.
That's right. The do stability.
Got to
pool.
shout it
No.
out.
Now, Hodpril I really liked Hodpril's strategy a little bit better, because it just seemed a little more like low key and conservative. Can you go over that real quick for us?
Yeah, my strategy is a lot what Jesse's strategy is. Going to go in heavy in the stability pool. One of the reasons I'm able to do that is, to be honest, I went heavily into, compared to some other people, into the Pulsechain sacrifice. I like being highly collateralized. Some people think I'm too highly collateralized. I don't care. I like to stay 1,000% collateralized, and have been so far. But that means, you're borrowing actually less USDL the higher collateralized you are, depending on what you put in, right? What you borrow out. Putting that into the stability pool, you collect, loan and pulse from that, and that actually helps to keep the USDL pegged to $1. Put in the stability. You can read the white paper. I'm not going to go into the super. It gets a little complicated, but yeah, I've done pretty well going into the stability pool personally, making some passive income there, supporting the system, right? I think it does benefit us to have a stable coin on Pulsechain. So, I've always been a big fan of what Liquid Loans does, and I'm an admin on there as well. So, yeah.
That's
know,
cool.
it's-
Tetra's
Overall,
finished.
overall Hodpril strategy is stay 100% or 1,000% collateralized, put into the stability pool, and in my case, I recycle the funds back into the staking pool. And when I get over, it was 110 or 1,100% collateralization, I like to borrow again, put that USDL in, more USDL into the stability pool when it pumps. And it's in that sense, I feel as though, this is not financial advice, I'm collateralized enough to be able to not have to sell or have my pulse, liquidated, right? And I can still make some profit off of it. So it's a safe way to go. I like it a lot. Jesse uses it.
I like it too.
Yeah, it seems really sound and very conservative.
Yeah. So.
Red Squirrel says Tetra's finished. Once Omnis is complete, Atlas and Stratus will come quickly after.
Awesome. I'm excited about this Tetra too.
Hexcat says they had Liquid Loans when what they should be doing is collateralizing Pulse, minting USDL, buying Hex if that's their baby. Easy. That's one play. Casey says, I can't wait for the meetups. I miss Tequila, Brandon, and Hexray and Burning Man trips. That is a lot of fun. Let's see here. And then Cookie says, Zenify made by a different team than Jack, and I think.
Oh, okay.
And DMath says Haunted's Up token uses his strategy to support his token. So, yeah, that one's pretty interesting too.
That was an interesting play to essentially collateralize or tokenize the strategy.
Mm-hmm. And then Hexcat says they hate on Liquid Loans for sponsoring a conference when what they should do is collateralize their Pulse, mint USDL, and buy Hex if that's their baby. There you go. That's what he's talking about.
I mean,
There we
to
go.
be fair, what did Liquid Loans expect when they did that? I'm not hating on Liquid Loans, but I would have seen that coming from a freaking mile away. If Liquid Loans was the sponsor of the Hex conference, Maddie's catching heat for that. So is Liquid Loans because of the culture of the maxis. So I'm not.
Wait, isn't there a difference?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, please.
No, I was. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was just saying, like, I was just reiterating my point. Yeah.
Now, am I wrong to think that there's a different sponsor each day, or is Liquid Loans just the main sponsor? 'Cause
I don't know. I don't know.
Well, when we were on the panel with Hexy Bastard said that 9mm was, or sorry, 9-inch was sponsoring Tuesday.
Oh,
So
okay.
I don't know if he has one every day but it does sound like it is different every day. And I don't know. I love the fact that Liquid Loans. I wish that Liquid Loans was running on Pulsechain during the 2021 bull run, because that would have allowed a lot of people to take out really good positions at 50-cent hex. And even if they were liquidated, I mean, think about coming back with your stack right now and DCing in. Like, that would have been beautiful. So,
By the way, I was invited to speak on the panel. I thought I was going to be out of town when that happened. So, you know, I didn't try to just ditch out and not be a part of it or anything. I thought I was going to be gone, but I was able to come to this stream because I'm randomly here today. So I'm glad to be here.
we're so glad to have you. I'm so glad you guys made it
thanks for
today.
having me.
This has been a great panel. Casey's got a good hot take here. Let me hear the panel's theory of SAC funds. What's the plan? Let's discuss the elephant in the room.
It's like SAC funds in general. Just
I think he's
all
saying
the
what is he
or
think
Liquid
that
Loans or what?
the OA or RH might do with the $1 billion.
Man, he can't touch that until all this gets cleared up. And here's what's funny: depending on how the courts decide this case, I mean, can he even touch it after the fact? That's the big question. Because, I mean, are people expecting that money is going to be used to pump Pulsechain? Well, there goes a leg of the Howie. I mean, like, it's sticky. It's a sticky situation. I don't know what's going to happen, but I know he can't touch that for years. He won't be able to.
Well, it's all in crypto, right?
Mm-hmm.
So,
I mean, that's what's on. I mean, that's mentioned, right? They know that he has. They know that he has some sort of consideration, or maybe consideration is the wrong word. Some sort of access or some sort of knowledge about who owns that wallet, and if money starts getting moved, like, that's when the Department of Justice comes in, and that's when people get weird. And like, so I just don't think they can move it unless Richard's got the balls, man, and he just wants to go make other people rich and he wants to be a martyr. He could do that, but I just don't think anything's going to happen until this court case gets cleared up. Not one penny is going to be moved.
Scott here says, love UpX utilizing Liquid Loans and earn soon with 3.6 million SAC raised, earning yield and utilizing lending strategies for never-ending buying and burns. Great for Pulsex buy pressure too, or Pulse buy pressure too. And then 9-inch is the sponsor on Tuesday of the conference. So yeah, it's really interesting.
What's
I know
the money being used for?
The money on Liquid Loans and Earn.
No, the sponsors, like
Sponsorship money, I think.
That's the question. Like, what's it being used for?
Yeah, I don't know.
You're not paying YouTube for airtime, like, so that would be my question.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a good question. Where's the sponsorship money going?
What happened to the ETH?
What happened to the ETH? Where's the ETH? Oh man, I love that. Well, do you guys have anything else you guys want to get into while you're here on stream? Any other projects that are chewing on your ear, or anyone that you think we need to bring on to Tech Talk in the next coming weeks?
I don't know. I got to get out of here, dude. You were really stringing me along, and I don't appreciate it. Okay. Gosh.
All right. Well, and maybe it's a good time to sign out. I say that all of us, let's try doing the awkward wave goodbye to all the people that have, and thank you. I want to thank everyone in chat here and for joining us. If you have a chat or question that we took on here, I'm going to send you a free Hex-Ray Vision t-shirt. So if you're in this chat, just DM me an address. And anyone of the guests here, Hodpril, Adam, I think you got your t-shirt. But if you guys want any t-shirts, hit me up and I'll ship those out to you with some stickers. But yeah, let's turn on a little bit of music here. We'll give our friends an awkward wave goodbye. How about this one? Lost?
Careful, Max has been known to show up at your house after you send your address. Just kidding.
We'll see you guys next week on Tech Talk. Love ya.